All right, so today we are doing section 1.2, Powers and Exponents. It says the product of repeated factors can be expressed as a power. A power consists of a base and an exponent. The exponent tells how many times the base is used as a factor. So this all together is called the power. The base is the large number, so 2 would be the base here. The exponent is that tiny number in the top right corner. That's the exponent. That's how many times you're multiplying the base. So if you look at the chart we have here, we have 3 with an exponent of 1, 3 with an exponent of 2, and on and on and on. So to say this, we say 3 to the first power. That's just 3 multiplied once, so that's 3. 3 to the second power is also said as 3 squared. You are going to hear squared a lot, so you might want to get used to hearing that. That's 3 times 3. 3 to the third power is also the same as 3 cubed. You're multiplying it 3 times. You will also hear cubed often. Then when you get to the fourth power and on and on and on, you just say 3 to the fourth power, 3 to the fifth power, and it goes on to the nth power. So any number that you put in for n, you would say it like that. All right, so in these problems, they want us to write each expression using exponents. So we want to count how many of each, and we're just going to write it using exponents. We're not going to multiply this out. We're just going to write it with exponents. So I see that I have 2 negative 2's here multiplying by each other. So I'm going to write negative 2, and I'm going to put it with an exponent of 2 because we multiplied it 2 times. Next, we have 4 multiplied 3 times, so we're going to put a multiplication sign. We're going to use a dot for multiplication. We do not use x in 8th grade. And it's going to be 4 to the third power. And that's it. We're done. We are not multiplying it out. They wanted it with exponents. Example 2. This time we're using variables. Same thing. I'm going to start with A's. I'm going to go in the order of the alphabet. So we have 1, 2, 3 A's. So it's a to the third times b to the third, because there's 2 of them. You also might see it written like this without the multiplication sign. That's just because when you have variables like this, you can put the variables together and it means multiplication. All right, if you were in class, you would be doing these you-try problems on your own, and then we would go over it. But obviously, I'm going to do them on here. So I'm going to start with the 5's. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So we're going to do 5 to the fourth times 3 to the third. The next one we have x's and y's. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. So that's x to the fourth times 1, 2, 2 y's. So y squared. If you notice, I did not put 4x or 2y. We're multiplying these 4 times, so that means there's going to be an exponent. All right, moving on to the back. I wrote this up here for you. It's also on the notes that you will find on Schoology. So when you have a negative base, there's just a little trick to showing what the final product would be. If it's a negative base and the exponent is even, your answer's positive. If you have a negative base, your exponent's odd, you'll get a negative answer. So let's do some examples to show you. So for this first one, we have 2 to the fourth power. So what that actually is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. If I were to multiply these, they want the answer. Evaluate means you're multiplying it out. So if I were to multiply these, I'd get 4 times 4, so that equals 16. Now for this example, the base was positive, so we didn't have to use this rule at all. For this one, we will. So I said if it's a negative base, which we have, 5 is odd, so it's an odd exponent. That means my final answer is going to be negative. So let's see if that's true. So if I were to rewrite this, it would be negative 3 multiplied 5 times. So I'm actually going to write this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get one more in there. Okay, So if I simplify this, this is 9. This is 9. This is times a negative 3. Simplify it again. 9 times 9 is 81. We have to multiply that by a negative 3. So we get negative 243. That fits with the rule. Negative base, odd exponent is a negative answer. All right, let's do the next one. This one is a fraction, but we're still just going to multiply it out. So this one's negative 3/4 to the 4th power. This is negative. Even exponent. So my final answer should be positive. Let's see if that's right. So I'm going to take negative 3/4 and multiply it 4 times. All right, so if I simplify this, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. Same thing over here. So we are left with 9 times 9 is 81. 16 times 16 is 256. And it's positive, which fits with the rule. Okay, moving on to a little word problem here. A racquetball court has an area of 2 times 4 squared times 5 squared square feet. What is the area of the racquetball court? All you're going to do here is multiply all this out. So I'm going to rewrite this using just the numbers. So that's going to be 2 times 4 times 4, because 4 squared is 4 times 4, times 5 times 5. So when we simplify that, we get 2 times 16 times 25. I'm going to simplify it one more time. 2 times 25 is 50 times 16. We get 800 feet squared. So all you're doing is multiplying those numbers together. I simplified it and took out the exponents to solve it. All right, the last 2 examples, we're going to follow order of operations. They want us to evaluate for x and y. I put order of operations for you just in case you forgot. We always do parentheses first, then we evaluate exponents, then we multiply and divide from left to right, and then we add and subtract from left to right. So let's start with letter A. X is 4, y is 2. So I'm going to plug in my numbers. We're going to put 4 to the 3rd power plus 2 to the 5th power. Because I'm simplifying this, I'm going to write out what this actually means. So 4 to the 3rd power means 4 times 4 times 4, plus 2 to the 5th power, we're multiplying that 5 times. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 32. When we add these together, we get 96. All right, last example. Same thing, I'm gonna simplify, but first I need to put 4 and 2 in for x and y. So we have 4 for x, 2 for y. Simplify what's in parentheses, so 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm gonna square that. 6 squared is just 6 times 6, and that equals 36. All right, so there's a copy of these notes in this folder on Schoology, so you can take a look at those, keep those with you as you're working on your homework practice. And if you have any questions, please reach out.